welcome to this segment of Kingpins 24. This is a segment that we've all been excited to bring to you, and I'm going to start by introducing Victor first. This gentleman on my screen is on the right, top hand corner, Victor Sandberg. Victor came to visit me at Kingpins 24 to present the idea of growing cotton in a greenhouse in Holland. And really cranked my jets. It was really exciting. And Victor has his own brand. And anyway, enough of me talking. Victor Sandberg, please tell our audience a little bit about you. And I'd like everyone afterwards to talk about themselves a little bit as well. But tell us about the project that you are doing and why we're here.
Yes, thank you for having us. It's wonderful to be here. Kingpins, first of all, is such a wonderful experience to walk through and to see all the things going on there. So that's something we're all very excited about. So my name is Victor Sandberg, and I'm not so used to introduce myself because I'm not a famous person, but I have some industry background, roughly 20 years, working from actually started in the shop floor and then worked my way up through sales and merchandising and to run and operate my own company in the end. So that's what I'm doing right now. I have background from Levi's and so on. And why is this when I'm supposed to introduce Dr. Walker?
Please.
Yeah. So then I do that without further ado. Then I would like to introduce Dr. Walker.
Okay, thank you, Victor. I'm Wouter Verkerken. I work at Wageningen University in research. I lead the program, the Greenhouse Pharmacy, and I was introduced to Victor by a common relation. It's Ad van Adrichem, a sustainable tomato grower. And Ad and I are working on new business models for the greenhouse industry. And so I met Victor. Thank you. Renske.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Renske Stuurman, and I'm one of the students that worked along with this project. I'm a master's student of International Development Studies in Wageningen University. Thank you. Marina? You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm Marina Alarcón, and I also work in this project with Renske and with Paolo. I'm doing a master's in Wageningen University about plant science. We work on this project about sustainable cotton cultivation. And Paolo, your turn.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Paolo Pezzolla. I'm from Italy, and I'm also a master's student of plant sciences. And we are part of the team working on the cotton about this project.
Thank you. Thank all of you for coming, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So I don't know who's going to run the presentation. I think Walter's running it, but we can go through it now.
Victor, I will start.
You can see it. Well, I can't wait, but I'm excited. Silly English expression. I can't wait.
Can you see the presentation?
No, we see you.
We see you now.
But not the presentation, no.
Oh, yeah.
You see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, take it away.
Hello. So my name is Victor Sandberg, and I'm the founder of TVs. And I'm going to share with you my dream now. And my dream is to create a fully automated fiber producing factory with a fully automated garment producing machinery for local production and local distribution. So when I started my new t-shirt brand called TVs in 2018, I wanted to make sure I did what I possibly could do to reduce the pollution created by the products that I was going to make and distribute. And I wanted to guarantee that what I created would be sustainable. So that's how the idea started of growing cotton locally here inside a greenhouse and locally produce the garments for the local distribution. with the long-term goal of having all elements being locally made. So when I decided it was time to realize my dream, I came in contact with Art van Adochem of Duvestan Tomaten, very innovative grower of sustainably cultivated tomatoes, and Dr. Wouter Verkerke of Wageningen University. We found that we shared a common vision. We also found that we didn't have enough funds at the moment, so we asked ourselves how to start, and then what we came up with was the question if a sustainable greenhouse could be an intermediate step towards fulfilling the dream, and could we contribute to making present existing farms more sustainable? So teaming up with a sustainable grower and Wageningen research, I discovered that there are so many options to act. And now I'm part of something much bigger than I first expected. There's a whole lot of people who want to make a difference and be part of this change. We started by cultivating a few plants from seeds inside the greenhouse of the university, and it grew wonderfully. We used 0 pesticides, and a dramatic decrease in water use was achieved as well, because plants love to grow in greenhouses. After that, these are the pictures you see from the greenhouse there, the cotton growing inside the greenhouse without any pesticides. After that, students of Dr. Wouter could perform a preliminary study for me, and which they will now present the result of. And here's up to Renske. Bring it on.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. So me and my student colleagues, we worked on a report. It was from the Wageningen University in a course called Academic Consultancy Training. So we were a team of 6 master students, and we were from all different academic backgrounds. Together, we researched the main problems in the current cotton industry, and we tried to define sustainability of cultivation systems, not by the labels or brands that were attached to them, but rather in terms of water use and pesticide use. This was not very easy, however, and well, I will show you what we found. We found that the biggest problems are excessive water and pesticide use, but we also saw many other concerns, like an unhealthy working environment and very low transparency in the origin of the cotton, and also the data surrounding the water and pesticide use. So what we did find was that simple technologies such as protected cultivation nets and drip irrigation could reduce 70% of pesticide use, 50% of water use, and even get a higher yield of up to 25%. Yeah, so this is what we found. And so while everybody agrees that the present situation is not ideal, we found that it should be fairly easy to find a way out of this situation and start making cotton more sustainable. So this is how far we got in our 2-month project. Thank you.
So where are we now? Based on what I learned so far, I see now before me these 2 steps in fulfilling my dream. And number 1 is setting up innovation farms, applying all research and development that's already there, producing hard data on measurable parameters. We will look into this option. Number 2, growing cotton sustainably, local for local, in greenhouses, without pesticides, with 75 decrease in water use. Here we propose to do research and development first, and then scale up anywhere in the world. If you want to help me realizing this dream, please contact me. So why join me? We would work together on our way to sustainability by introducing innovation farms, experiment with new technologies and innovations, knowing the exact data on the environmental cost of cotton cultivation, and transparency of the origin of the cotton. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back. Wow, I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Renske. Thank you, Victor. I have questions. First of all, Kingpins would like to join you on your trip, and Kingpins would like to help you in any way we can. I think it's great. So let's go through a couple of things. I have a question. The first question I have is, in the greenhouse, is there any difference in the output of this, whether if the seed is a GMO seed or an organic seed?
Okay, Paolo, you are the plant student.
Hello. Well, I would say that I mean, we should look at literature, but I would say that for sure we may have higher quality in the fiber of cotton, and I think it will be traceable, completely transparent production, and the sell will be much easier due to the fact that the data will be completely transparent. And yeah, about the OGM, there will be no connection between them because they are completely okay. If we get like seeds, like normal seeds, and we put them into the greenhouse,
Yes.
the production will be much better, and we have no need to use OGM because there is no need of pesticide use, and we are not afraid of pests in general. So there is no connection between them.
Okay.
So yeah.
Then drip system. So drip costs a lot more. So for the farmer can use drip system. There's no reason not to use drip system. I would imagine every farmer in the world would love to use drip, but I think the cost is very high. So what is your idea for implementing that in the industry? Should we as an industry just simply agree to pay more so that the farmers use drip and we have a better sustainable output? Is that what you think? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, well, when we researched drip irrigation systems, for example, in India, that was what our project was about, we saw that actually the Indian government gives subsidies as well for drip irrigation. So I think also working with the government and making these drip systems more available and also making them easier to adopt for the farmers themselves would also be a very helpful situation. So I think all stakeholders can help here, of course, but also we need to involve the government, in my opinion. Maybe some other people have it.
Yeah, we also saw in literature that the farmers in India, they managed to cover the first capital investment in around 2 years because of a huge save in water use. So they managed to pay back their first investment in around 1 or 2 years, depending on the size of the farm and the quality of the cotton product.
So if banks would lend them the money, they could pay it off in 2 years, basically.
Yeah.
I see. And so you think that it's possible to implement in the system eventually? You guys are young, so you're as consumers, would you pay a little more for your clothes if you knew that the farmer was using 75% less water?
I think we are a little bit biased since we are in a sustainable university.
Okay.
So
I
may say,
so
yes.
We'll cancel the question. We'll find some other people on the street somewhere and ask them.
Great.
I have a question about India. Do you guys know how much of India's farming water is irrigation or is from the rain? I mean, how much water is India using for their cotton agriculture compared to rain? Do you know that number?
I think in our study, if I remember correctly, most of the cotton cultivation in India is rain-fed, actually.
Yes. The number I have is like 69%. So
I think what the numbers we got were like 90% or something like that. It was rain-fed.
Yes.
And from the irrigated cultivation, it was mostly flooding. So it was like, yeah, excessive water use.
It's very dangerous because if they have no rain, then they have no other system. So
exactly.
Besides the savings, there's also the issue of risk for the poor farmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another reason that drip is a really vital, it's like a blood. We can't live without it. I mean, someone can infuse us, but it's really nicer if we have it every day and all the time.
Of course.
Is your study, what is going to happen to your study going forward? Are you guys finished your school this year, and what happens to this subject? This is a student question.
Yeah, so we're now helping, of course, Wouter and Victor, and we are graduating around this year, maybe not this summer, but in the end this year. And yeah, I'm very much willing to work on this project themselves, but for as it is right now, it's mostly Victor's project, and we're helping him getting where he wants to go.
And what do you want to do? What do the three of you want to do when you graduate? What kind of work do you want to do?
Businessman for me.
A business,
Yeah,
culture businessman?
yeah,
Yep. Okay.
definitely. Yes.
And you, Marina?
And I would like to work as an agricultural consultant in a consultancy firm. That's like one of the goals. Hopefully I can achieve it.
And Renske?
I would like to work in research and development to bring stakeholders together and to work on solutions like this one, for example, this project.
Thank you. And Walter, what happens to your course now that these three guys are going to the next level of life? What happens to the course, and where are you going now?
Yeah, well, we still we discovered so that that were easy solutions to get out of the non-sustainable situation. I was surprised myself that the solutions were so easy, at least on paper. So my first next step would be trying to get funding from the Dutch government to set up a project with the Indian government, because I think that Dutch technology and knowledge about agriculture could help setting up a project in India, applying the lessons and that we developed, what we learned from other crops, and applying to this particular case. And every year I have two groups of students, like the present students.
Yes.
And 2 years before, I had a student from India, and he's thinking about it, setting it up with cotton growers in his neighborhood.
It's super interesting.
And that could be a lead. And I have been mailing this idea with the Dutch representative of bilateral cooperation, and this could be an option. We could apply for it. Doesn't mean we get the funding, but this is a realistic thing. So our approach would be, hey, this R&D says so and so, so this is an opportunity. There are people from India interested, and we could get funding to build a business case. And the other one is Victor's idea. Could we grow it in the Netherlands? Could we do the R&D in the Netherlands and then find a greenhouse producing locally? So that's part two, step two of the dream of Victor. Could we find people in other countries to apply these things? I think that our greenhouse and our climate is not suitable for cotton. It's much too powerful greenhouse. It's much too high tech. And we can develop the right type of greenhouse for the right place where to produce the cotton more sustainable.
So you think it's possible to grow cotton in a greenhouse commercially?
It can be, but not our greenhouse. That's much too high tech. And maybe for you, a greenhouse is a greenhouse. I see many different forms, and they can be very cheap and very effective for this particular goal. And the main part is to save water and to keep the bugs out. And we do not need to have the other options that we have in Holland to grow our own food. So there are a lot of options there. Yeah.
Victor started to smile when we talked about the greenhouse. He smiles a lot, but he smiled even more. So Victor, what do you think about the greenhouse for your brand?
I think that I'm living the dream. I think it's totally realistic that it can be done. And now it's actually more about making it happen. That's where I am. So
can you make it happen? What do you need to make
I
it?
believe so. Yeah. Well, we need stakeholders to actually to invest in this with us, basically.
So can you explain that to us so we can actually understand that and perhaps help?
Throughout the interviews,
What does it look like? What does it look like when everything works perfectly for you?
So, for instance, when we went on a few of the interviews, we met with some very large brands and some other stakeholders in the industry. And one idea was when we were in one of the offices that we were sitting in there, and I said, you could look out the window and 40 minutes away, the cotton is grown, the garments are made, and they're being shipped to directly to your online consumer in this city. You know, that's pretty cool. They love that idea, obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, but it's it sounds very like a very positive, not only message. It's a very cool invention as well, actually. So it's something that they were very interested. No?
I think people in New Amsterdam, New York, would like it as well.
Absolutely. It started off from an idea that you have local production. So I mean, I want to use TVs also as a vehicle, so you can, so I can produce locally in New York for the New York market. You know, so that's definitely part of
Yeah, and we try to promote local for local production, short chains, and I'm not sure whether it's really possible for cotton. But at least for fruits and vegetables, we believe very much in short chains, and the knowledge we build up with that, we could apply to cotton. But it's wonderful for me to help to realize Victor's dream.
Can we talk just for a second and change subjects, even though we're a denim event? Can we talk about fruit and vegetables?
Great.
What is going on with fruit and vegetables with a short delivery, and that means local delivery? How is that working for you?
Well, in Holland, we do not have a problem with it. We have a large this system of green belts around metropolitan areas that produce the food for the people living in the city is a big success, and we try to export it. And it's no use shipping fresh vegetables from one part of the country to not our country. We're not a country. We're more like a city. But if you look at United States, if you see that fresh tomatoes are produced in Ontario and in California and shipped all over the country, I think that is a waste of Mother Nature, actually. We have the technology to grow these fruits where they are eaten. And when you do that, you do not need GMO to make them longer, to give them a longer shelf life, for instance. Right. You can grow them without compromise for flavor and health. And you shouldn't ship all these fresh commodities over the country by beautiful trucks and so on. So I believe in a system of green belts, and maybe producing fresh foods in the city. That's also an option, of course, but when the buildings are allowing that. But green belts surrounding metropolitan areas, that's the systems we like to develop, for instance, for cities like Beijing, because there they have the problem we simply cannot get the food into the city anymore. And so I believe in local for local production. Now, cotton is different. And for instance, we see the same with food ingredients. They can be produced all over the world because the shipping is not really an issue. For cotton, I wouldn't know too much too well how this would work out. But if, for instance, Australia could be self-supporting for their own T-shirts and jeans, that would be a wonderful situation. Why flying all these fibers all over the world? That does not make sense to me as a scientist. But the question with local for local is always, what is local? Is that your own city? Is that your next city? Is that, and you get strange discussions. For instance, the tomatoes that are produced in Belgium are nearer by the city of London than produced from Scotland, for instance. And then, but from Scotland it's called local, and from Belgium it's not called local. Well, this is outside of my world. I'm a scientist, and I try to measure what is the CO2 footprint, what is the water use, how much pesticides are used. And to answer one of your first questions, we do not need GMO to make the world a better place. We can do without. And
in greenhouse.
Oh yes, with technology and with simple greenhouses or high-tech greenhouses. So there is much more possible than is used at the moment, and it would be wonderful to bring the lessons from other agricultural domains to the cotton industry.
All right then. Thank you to all of you. Victor, anybody who wants to reach anybody on this this Zoomcast can just write to us. When we do this presentation, I'm going to take this off. We have to cut this. I made a mistake. Thank you all for doing this. We really appreciate
Thank you, Andrew.
Time. We love the work that you're doing. Good luck to the students. Good luck to all three of you. I hope you get exactly the jobs that you look for and have great careers. And hopefully Kingpins will be real again and we come back to Amsterdam, and you're all welcome to come. And we hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Okay, stay well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.